Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, that website address for you is www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Today I want to talk to you guys about the pros and cons of using study brokers. And some of you, for you research participants out there, you may be interested, but this is not really aimed for you. This particular video is aimed at the research professionals out there, the people working in the industry, people involved in running a clinic, maybe a new investigator that wants to learn more about the business behind clinical trials. This video is perfect for you. It's study broker. What is a study broker, first of all, and the pros and cons of using it. So let me just start out by saying a study broker is exactly what it sounds like. It's someone who provides you studies, or provides you site studies, or provides an investigator studies in exchange for a fee. Now this fee is different based on obviously the type of broker you're dealing with. Some brokers charge an upfront fee. Some brokers charge, and most brokers I would say, charge a percentage of the study budget. So at South Coast Clinical Trials we do use study brokers. In fact, we use one exclusive study broker, which shall remain nameless because we don't want to get into all that legal stuff. We're happy with them. They're a pretty good study broker. We rarely use them though because we like to develop our business development efforts from within. So we have people like myself and Don and a few other people who never appear on camera. They're in charge of and responsible for bringing in new studies to our pipeline. But we use study brokers about 5% of the time. And let me tell you why. There's pretty much two obvious benefits of using a study broker. Number one, you get access to studies that are outside of your immediate therapeutic specialty. For example, at South Coast Clinical Trials, our specialty is psychiatry, psychiatric trials. So we get tons of study offers from schizophrenia to bipolar to depression to Alzheimer's. And sometimes our investigators want to go a little bit outside of that circle and start participating in other studies such as pain, asthma, diabetes, arthritis, things like that. Things that are not in their immediate area, but they certainly have an interest in. Maybe they have subspecialties in these areas, but they're not getting the studies for these indications because, number one, the business development team is not focusing on them, or two, we just don't have enough context outside of our therapeutic expertise. So we do get studies outside of our immediate therapeutic expertise from study brokers, and we're happy to do that because eventually we won't need the study broker for those therapeutic indications because we'll be doing enough of them to where sponsors will start coming back to us. Now, what's the con? Besides the obvious, which is the payment, whether you're paying the study broker up front or you're paying them a percentage, there's another con to using study brokers, and that is that they often have in their term sheet a clause which says if you get another study from this sponsor using the same drug, you still owe us a fee for that study. And there's ways that they can track this, so you want to be careful about getting too reliant on using study brokers. Now after that next study, if there happens to be another one from that same sponsor, you don't owe them any fees, but it still adds up to be a lot. Number one, they usually charge about 10%. Outside of the upfront payment, they'll charge 10% of the entire budget, which is actually a lot of money no matter which way you look at it or which way you try to justify it. 10% is a good chunk of money, and that's the ballpark range for a typical study broker. Plus, you get that added fee of having to do it again if the sponsor likes your work and they send you another study. So usually that's in the clause. If you can negotiate out of that, try to, but for the most part I think that's one of the terms that they're sticking to pretty solidly. So that's one of the cons. Another con is that you just want to be able to build your own business development team. So you don't want to get too reliant on these study brokers. I know at South Coast Clinical Trials, if I had to do it again, I probably would have hired someone responsible for business development immediately from the get-go. Right after we got the first study coordinators, we would have got business development people whose sole responsibility was getting studies and building up our study pipeline. So that's another con. If you get too reliant on these study brokers, you're not going to have the internal capabilities of getting these studies on your own. So you're always going to be paying these fees, and you're never going to be truly profitable. But I think the ideal scenario to use a study broker is, number one, like I said, to get studies outside of your immediate therapeutic indication, and number two, during slow periods of time, like recently during late 2009 and throughout 2010, studies were few and far between. So a lot of sites, including ours at South Coast Clinical Trials, turned to study brokers. But I think the ideal mix is definitely less than 5% of your studies should come from a study broker. And if you're a new investigator, go ahead and start using them, because it's better to start with a study broker than not start at all, if it is indeed clinical trials that you'd like to get involved with. So I guess you just have to pay the fee, but don't get too reliant on them. Start building up your own staff to handle business development, and pretty soon you won't need study brokers unless you want to expand into other therapeutic indications, in which you'll just repeat the process. Hopefully this helps. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've had any good experiences with study brokers, and let me know the pros and cons of that. It's Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks a lot.